I'm Mariam Simpson. I teach physics at Cuyamaca College. I'm also the chair of engineering and physical sciences. I went to Berkeley, and when I got there, I actually thought I was going to be a lawyer when I started college. So I was taking some political science classes, and I wasn't really that engaged with the classes. History, English, all that stuff seemed sort of the same as high school. So I started taking math and science classes because they seemed just a lot harder than high school. And I was like, if I'm going to pay money, it better be a challenge. So I switched to pre-med because that was what all the cool kids were doing at the time. I had to take the biology majors physics, and so I took the engineering majors physics. So I took the harder class, and I loved it. I found that what I really loved about physics, and this is probably going to conflict with advice that I give later about how to decide what you want to do, but I just liked it, and I liked the people that did it. I felt like everyone was doing it because they really enjoyed the subject and they wanted to learn, and it was really fun to be around people that weren't thinking about what their parents wanted them to do or how much money they were going to make. They were just learning for the sake of learning, and that was sort of a magical and sort of a privileged thing, right, to get to just spend time thinking about something hard that you're interested in. So it was a great thing, and then I went to grad school, got my master's, dropped out of my PhD, and started working here. So that's how I got. So I think, yeah, having taught at both the UC and at community college, I was really attracted to community college because the students need help. Not as an insulting way, but the students that go to the UC, like I did straight out of high school, tend to really have a direction, even if it's just a direction that their parents gave them. Community college students tend to be more on their own. They tend to be more independent, but they also tend to not sort of have that idea of where they need to go yet. And so I think that's a place where I can really help. And when I taught at the UC, there was this expectation of skills that you should come in with and what you should already know and what you were responsible for. Whereas I think community college, since we take everybody, we can be a little bit more sort of loose in what our expectations are and sort of help students get to where they need to go. And I think that's really more of a challenge, and it's a lot more fun as an instructor to get to know your students with these small class sizes and to really help them decide what they're going to be and where they're going to go. So I think that teaching at community colleges provides that unique opportunity, and I preferred it to teaching at the UC. I felt like this was a little bit more engaging for me. I think one of the big mistakes people make when they think about college is they treat it like classes, right? You have to go, you have to get particular grades in particular classes, there's all these steps. And I know that's how it's laid out to you because that's what you're told. Take this class and then this class and then this class. And there's sort of this expectation that it's this linear thing and that magically if you show up and you take this class and then this class and then this class, you'll know everything you need to know. But in reality, college is just a tool, right? You have to know where you want to go. And the other thing is there's all these other things at a college, especially at a four-year college like UC, that people don't take advantage of. There's all of these resources available to you to build skills, because what classes do is they teach you mostly topics, right? You know a little bit about this and a little bit about this and a little bit about this. But what you really need when you get out into the world and you want a job are skills. And it's funny because you may learn most of the skills you need in one or two classes, or you may learn them outside of class. Now, that doesn't mean that class isn't important. Finishing college at least shows that you can get through a series of hoops. But in reality, if you want to get some sort of harder job, you're going to have a skill set. And then students always come out of college and they say, oh, well, they want me to already have job experience to get my first job. And it feels like this trick, like this catch-22 where you can't get a job unless you've already had a job, and it's almost ridiculous. But when you're in college, you do have a chance to get that experience. I know the obvious thing is just internships, but especially at a four-year like UCSD or at Berkeley, they have things like machine shop courses. They have computer labs with software. You can get access to SolidWorks for free. You can get access to MATLAB for free. You can build skills that will be really expensive to build on your own once you're out of college. and it's all available to you right there. I mean, if you want to learn, if it's a time of your life where you want to learn Taekwondo, you can do that for free on the side. The other thing is, we talk about this network of, making connections to get careers. You can do that while you're in college. You can do it at college, because hopefully if you've picked a good location, your peers are going to be important. So, choose friends that are motivated and are about to go out and do exciting stuff. Your professors, they have connections with industry, especially in engineering. And so the more you interact with them, the more opportunities you're going to have for them to point you in the right direction. And so all of these resources, these are all extracurricular. They're outside of class, but they're all available to you. And you have to make sure that you know what you want so that you can figure out how to get those things. But also, if you don't know what you want, use as many of them as you can, get some experience, because you don't know what's going to be useful later. You don't know what the job looks like until you actually have it. And so make sure you're taking advantage of all of the things that college has to offer outside of just books and classes. So I think a big mistake students make, especially when it's your first time in college, is you think that college is here to sort of provide you with all of the tools you need to get out into the real world. And I mean, that's first of all asking a lot of an institution. And second, if you've been to any colleges, it's this huge bureaucracy. There's hundreds of people trying to make this thing work, and we're lucky if we can get the class schedule up in time. But the thing about being in college and then transitioning into real life is, like I said before, you want to pick up skills, okay? It's good to have knowledge, but we all have Google. Once you know where to get the knowledge, you can always just go look it up again. But what you don't get from just reading things and just picking up information is skills. And I mean like solving hard problems, okay? Because I always tell my students this, if you can do something as an algorithm, like make it step 1, step 2, step 3, then a computer can do it, and you're no better than a computer with a decent programmer. What you want to be is the person who tells the computer what to do. And in order to do that, you have to have skills that come outside of just walking through the steps. And to do that, you have to really approach school differently, because it's one thing to get good grades. It's a completely other thing to understand the material at a deeper level. And that's not to say remembering every detail, but it's more about what can you get out of the content. So do you understand something well enough where you can actually, without looking at anything, without looking up too many details, just sort of reason your way through a process and solve a difficult problem? Because a real skill for outside of college is seeing something that's really hard, not panicking, breaking it down into small digestible pieces, and then putting it back together in a way that's useful. Because a lot of people can't do that. Thinking is hard, and a lot of people aren't trained to think. They think they are, that's sort of the weird language thing. But they aren't. They are used to following steps. They're used to following directions. And when you send them out with a bunch of information and no direction, they get lost. And so one of the things you can really learn while you're in college is how to be uncomfortable, how to fail, and not see that as a problem. Whether you want to go on to a professional career directly after, or especially if you want to go to graduate school, you got to get these letters of recommendation. And a key thing about a letter of recommendation is you don't want one that sounds like everybody else's, which is really tricky, because that means the person writing it has to know you. And this is also important if you want to get recommendations for jobs and things that aren't official written letters of recommendations. But a key thing here is you need to talk to your professors, and you need to go to office hours. Now, I think there's this misconception that you have to show up to office hours ready to go. You've got everything figured out, but you just need help with this one little problem. And that's not true. Professors are contractually obligated to have office hours, so you aren't interrupting them. They are literally paid to sit there and wait for you to show up. Now, they may look like you're interrupting them, because if no one shows up, we're going to get some grading done, or, I don't know, watch YouTube videos or something. But if you show up, remember that's your time. And the professor, as academics, we're not known for our social skills. So if they don't seem super happy to see you, I mean, they should, because this is their job, but if they don't, that's okay. You need to show up and ask questions if you have questions. And you also need to form a relationship with these people, because, and you might want to cast a wide net, because you may not connect very well with one professor, but you may connect really well with another professor. And those relationships are really crucial in helping you get to the next step of whatever you want to do. So even if it is coming in, I mean, don't be like a jerk about it, but like, come in and ask a question on on a question you already know the answer to, not to show off, but because you'll be more comfortable asking it if you want to just start out that way. And then you can start showing up with questions you don't know the answer to, and have discussions. Or you can show up with a question that's sort of outside the scope of something you could ask in class, but you're really interested about. One thing that's really easy to do, especially if you're trying to get into research, is all professors on their website, especially at a 4-year research school, they have their papers that they wrote, all of them listed, linked. You can get to them. If you want to like talk to them about something they're probably interested in, you can try. Well, I mean, reading them will be a real treat. They're very, they're not exactly, they're like more boring than War and Peace. But if you want to read a scientific paper, you could at least see what you can get out of it and then show up and ask some questions about it. I mean, I can't tell you how many people have ended up getting jobs just by like starting a conversation that way. And you know, if you're not sure what to say, like look at their papers, look at the homework problems that you're having trouble with, show up, and you don't have to wow them, but you do have to be comfortable talking to them and see if this is sort of a connection that you can use. I think when you're a student, it's easy to get caught up in, you know, all of the deadlines, and there's a lot of little hoops you have to jump through, and a lot of just the logistics of college are confusing. But keep in mind, you spend a lot less of your time in school than you will working. This is an opportunity that's special. It's a period in your life where you have time, hopefully, to do more thinking and less doing, and you can really take advantage of a whole bunch of different resources. While you're in college, your whole life is still open. You don't know what you're going to do. So go with what you really love doing. I know that sounds really cheesy, but if there's something that really interests you, spend more time on that. I know it's important to pass all your classes, but once you're in college, unless you're going to graduate school, your grades aren't going to matter as much as the stuff that you take with you after. And so make sure you're getting what you want, and that you're engaged, and you're finding stuff that makes you excited to go to class and excited to do things. And even if it's not in class, right? Even if it's something outside that's related, maybe a project or a club, get really passionate about something. Because one thing that I've noticed really comes through either in applications for jobs or for graduate school is that when people really love what they're doing, they do better, and you can tell. And it doesn't have to be what you think is the thing you're supposed to be doing. You don't know which skill you've developed, which thing that you've worked on that's going to be the thing that defines you later. And so follow what you think is exciting. You can let it, you can wander around. You don't have to be particularly focused. If you don't know what you want, just do what you love until it becomes clear.